Alrighty, last match. Opponent mulliganed, and our hand is fine. Bunch of different rebels, so we'll most likely be able to start searching on turn 4. Force Spike. See what our opponent is thinking about right now. So here I can go with double 1-drop, which is more vulnerable to Spellstutter Sprite. However, if I lead with Sergeant and then I go Javelineers, that could be pretty good, since then I have the Javelineers ready to use to blow up a Spellstutter Sprite. However, if they don't take the bait on the Sergeant and then I run the Javelineers out and they Spellstutter that, or they Force Spike it or Daze it or Counterspell it, then I'll be pretty sad that I lost it. What to do? I think I'm going to go with the 1-drops. I think I can, if my opponent has Spellstutter Sprite, the ability to get a 1-drop is going to be too much of an incentive for them to just ignore, I think. Oh, okay, a Prohibit. Radiant Fountain. So here I can play Emerald Scout, or I can use this. And I'm definitely going to use one of the Sergeants, since that is a lot better for card advantage. And I don't really care about getting in for 1 damage right now. And they finally find their black source. So now what I need to be worried about is Evincar's Justice. But I have a Prismatic Strands for that. And also I'm going to go get a... where is it? There we go. Protection from black creature. So now we'll have to Evincar's Justice and then Edict me out of the game. Also, if they have a main deck Shrivel or Whale of the Nim, they might be able to get me with that. Agony Warp, okay. I suppose I should have done that after combat. Remove Soul, okay. Could get myself another Amaru Scout here, most likely. It's a little awkward if they do have Whale of the Nim, but that's not a very common card for main decks, so I'm not going to leave open 3 forever for this Prismatic Strands. Have to keep on making them counter something if they can, so they can't spend mana on like Mystical Teachings. Although it looks like since they have Rewind, they're going to get to do that anyway. Oh no, they don't have anything else. So they probably don't have Think Twice or Remand in hand right now. They pick up a Radiant Fountain, so we know that some life gain is coming. And should I go get a Rift Washer? Because they're pretty close to dead, or another Scout. I think I'll play again around the 1 damage or Shrivel effects by getting a Rift Watcher, even though it is temporary. And this time, I'm going to leave back this 3-drop 1 instead of a 4-drop 1, because I want to be able to leave open Prismatic Strands the entire time. Okay, awesome. And our Dimir control opponent concedes. Rewind, remove soul, agony, warp, prohibit. So lots of counter spells. So if they have Pristine Talisman, you might want this. If the way they win is Curse of the Bloody Tome, we might want this. If they're going to board in a lot of 1 damage or 1 toughness effects like Shrivel, we might want it just as a threat. So Core Sanctifiers is looking pretty good. I hate Rift Watcher against control opponents since it only does 4 damage and then it just dies forever. Bound in Silence is similarly pretty bad, as are Serrated Arrows. I want my Doom Travelers for sure. And let's see. Protection from Red Flyer doesn't do anything in this matchup besides fly. I'll keep this in case they have Delver Secrets. I can go find this on end step and kill a Delver if they're not expecting it. Keeping 1 Bound in Silence to search up 2 Journeys. I wonder if Bound in Silence is just better than Journey. If they have bounce effects, they could buy back their creatures that are bound but not journeyed. Then again, if they do it in response to a journey, they can make me get my own creature. They most likely have limited bounce effects, so I'll hedge right now. I'll go 2 bound and 1 journey, but depending on what I see, if I see 0 bounce spells at all, I might change this last journey to a Bound in Silence as well. But 2 should be enough to search for, so I'll submit this. Alright, I'm going to keep this hand. It's pretty greedy since it only has 1 land, but I've got 2 1-drops I can play even if I miss a land drop, so... I can't really let this resolve, so they're going to have to counter it if they can. Alright. They kill the Rebel, which makes sense, because if I hit another land drop, it starts generating free creatures for me. They can't really afford to let any of my Rebels live, which is pretty good for me. Any of my Rebel Searchers, that is. They could care less about this Zealot Ilvec unless they're running the full 4 Delver of Secrets, which I doubt since we haven't seen any creatures yet. Then again, we also haven't seen Innocent Blood, so kind of hard to tell whether or not they're the creatureless version. Think Twice, okay, they got that. They can flash back later. Pristine Talisman, okay, so good thing we had those Core Sanctifiers. They pick up a swamp, so they're going to make their land drop next turn. And now the question is, do they have a Shrivel or Evincar's Justice effect? Because if they do, we're probably going to lose, and if they don't, we're probably going to win. Because no amount of removal is going to be able to keep up with all of our Rebel Searchers, most likely. Okay. Chainers. Doom Travelers. Great against Chainers. Go get myself my Pro Black creature. And I'm just going to save all my cards in my hand and keep on searching with this Defiant Falcon. Flashes back the Think Twice, okay. Goes to 6 cards. We do not have a very fast clock on them right now, but hopefully the Defiant Falcon will change that. Alright, there's the Evincar's Justice. Is there anything I can get that survives that? I think I got rid of all my 2/3s, right? I could get a Bound in Silence just to pull it out of my deck. If I don't want to draw it. And since I already have a Journey in hand, I think that's the case. So yeah. They have the buyback, so... I need to find myself a... whatchamacallit? The damage prevention effect as quickly as possible. There's of course Sanctifiers, that's decent. playing out another creature just to entice them to Evincar's Justice again. If they do, then they take 2 and they take more damage from the protection from black creature. If they don't, then I'm glad I played out the Zealot. Okay. And now, the other function of this Core Sanctifiers, if it hopefully resolves, is that it gives them less mana, while also giving me another protection from Evincar's Justice and protection from an Edict Effect creature. So they can't just play 1 Edict Effect and kill my pro-black person. I'll have to play 2 Edict Effects. If they have 2 Edict Effects, I'm going to die. That's just how it is, unfortunately. Alright, so they do have Seagate Oracles in their deck. Oh, Prismatic Strands, that's good. So what to do? I can play Journey plus Scout. I like being able to leave open Strands, but Strands doesn't really do anything. I think I'm going to go with Scout first. Get them to counter that, so that they don't have to Evincar's Justice, okay? Now Journey. They don't have enough mana to repeal their Seagate, even if they're playing repeals. They might just kill their Seagate here, though. Or Agony Warp, okay. So now they can, in fact, flash back that Chainer's Edict and kill my Nightwing, unfortunately. Because they had the counter spell plus the kill spell. And now it's game over. Because they have Evincar's Justice, they can flash back, and they have 2 Edict Effects, so I can't overcome that. The only creatures I have that survive that Evincar's Justice are the 2/3s. I mean, I guess I'll still do this just in case, but I don't really have a chance. Unless all the rest of the cards in their hand are lands, and all they draw are lands. And I draw enough Rebel Searchers that make them have to remove them every single turn. Because without that Pristine Talisman, they can't actually afford to take the 2 damage from Evincar's Justice an infinite number of times. So I need to run them out of Edicts. And then play 2/3s. Oh my goodness, I had Prismatic Strands, didn't I? I should have used that. Oh god. That was bad of me. Oh well. It was only a 1-power creature, so this one is effectively the same if they try to do that again. 3rd Edict Effect. Oh my. Alright, yep, that's game. 3 Edict Effects is too many to overcome. Alright, I still no bounce spells, so I'm going to go with Bound over Journey. On play again, are we fast enough? Yeah, this looks pretty good. 1 drop, 1 drop, 1 drop. Hopefully draw something in the meantime. We haven't seen any Squadron Hawk yet, which is pretty good against this deck. Oh, Speak of the Devil. So I'm actually going to play the 1-drop still, and that's because they're kind of forced to get rid of this Sergeant if they have targeted removals, so they'll have to tap out before it's my turn, which means I'll still get to resolve the Squadron Hawk. Yep, there's the Doomblade, okay. So that means I get my Squadron Hawks. And now I hopefully draw land so I can deploy 2 of them next turn. Or a Sanctifiers if they just go for Pristine Talisman here, which they don't. Alright. As much as I would love to get a Rebel Searcher onto the table, I don't even have the 4th land for this yet, so it's not a good time to run it out. Also, my opponent could have Evincar's Justice, so. Devour Flesh, okay. I could get rid of this Doom Traveler, so I keep as much power on the board for as long as possible, but that's worse against Evincar's Justice. So do I just want to pretend that they don't have an Evincar's Justice and sacrifice the Doom Traveler and try to put them under as much pressure as possible, or do I want to play conservatively? I don't think I can afford to play conservatively against this deck. I think I need to go all in, so I'm going to sacrifice Doom Traveler. And of course, the reason this is worse is because it goes ahead and converts the Doom Traveler to a spirit. So if they Evincar Justice now, I lose all my creatures. Whereas if I had sacrificed something else, I would have kept a spirit. Alright. Now is the time that I'm going to make them use removal on this Defiant Falcon. Because they didn't have an Evincar Justice last turn. So it's unlikely they'll have it the next turn unless they get lucky. So here I'm going to force them to use a counterspell or something here. Okay, they removed, sold it. Bash you for 4. They still don't have an Evincar's Justice, so I'm just going to go with the highest variant play and try to bash them down. Okay. They have to counter that because I already have the 3 mana to activate it. Similarly, they kind of have to get rid of this in case I have a land to follow up. Think twice, okay. Alright, between that think twice and draw step, did they find a Justice? If they did, they win. If they don't, I win. Although, if they just have to play it without flashing it back, if that's what they're trying to wait for, I might still win since they won't keep it in hand. I could potentially draw a land, play 2 Hawks. They tap mostly out or tap half their mana for a Talisman. I blow it up with Sanctifiers and I could still potentially come back, but in general, the Evincar Justice is going to be awful for me if they have it. Alright, they're letting me untap. I don't have a 4th land for this Defiant Falcon, so I'll just attack with it. Let's see what their graveyard looks like. I think twice. And that's it. I'm just going to keep on being aggressive. Keep on playing around, or keep on not playing around Evincar's Justice, rather. And hope they don't have it. Next turn they can also flash it back, so here comes the Think Twice flashback most likely. Oh no, Echoing Decay on my Squadron Hawks. Okay. And now flashback to Think Twice. That's an odd order to do those in, but okay. Disfigure. Takes out my Rebel Searcher. And they're still on a pretty decent clock. This isn't horrible for us. What's this going to be? Devour Flesh. Not great for us. I think I'd rather keep the flyer in case they land a Seagate Oracle. They have 1 card in hand. It's a counterspell. Okay, now we're in the Topdeck war. They have nothing in the yard to flash back. And I have a 1/1 against their 7 life. Alright, so now here's the question. Do I save this Core Sanctifiers for a Pristine Talisman, or do I just run it out because it's bigger than the Hawk? I think I'm going to save it. It's a hard choice, though. Double check, make sure I don't have any of those Hawks left. Okay, I don't. Good. Alright, they're dead in 3 turns. They didn't do anything on my end steps. So they probably drew at least 1 blank. Alright, there's the Oracle. Okay, so now is the time for this. And the reason is it doesn't die to Evincar's Justice. And I can get it in for attacks with the Bounded Silence. Alright, so they have to counter it. They probably still have a blank in hand from that first draw that we mentioned, that they didn't do anything the whole turn cycle. There it is, okay. Evincar's Justice, boom. They go down to 2. And they return Radiant Fountain, which means they are going to get to play that again. I don't want the Emerald Scout to die, so I'm going to play Zealot first. And let's see what they do. They have a Evincar's Justice and Radiant Fountain in hand. Alright, Evincar's Justice and a question mark. As long as that question mark is bad, we should be okay. Alright, they're letting me attack. I am not going to redirect this damage. Go ahead and cycle our step. And I'm going to try to play out this Nightwing Glider, because it does not die to the Justice. Which means they have to counter it. And they didn't. So now they have to Evincar's Justice, get rid of the Zealot, and then Edict effect the Nightwing off the table. Which requires them to have a pretty specific set of cards. Okay, there's a Disfigure, which means they don't need to use the Justice, which means their life total stays at 3 instead of going to 1. Unfortunately for us. Mystical Teachings, okay, that means they go get an Edict effect. Probably Diabolic Edict if they have it. Or Devour Flesh, this seems to be the one they're running. Oh, Crypt Incursion. Well, that's bad for me. Yeah, they're going to gain a cheese ton of life now. Oh, they go to 42. Well, that's game over. Yep, because now they have Evincar's Justice. Yeah, that's game. Oh well, it's been fun. That's why you always run a one of Crypt Incursion in your Teachings decks, I guess. They get to flashback Justice, because they can afford that 2 life easily now. And I'm never going to win in time, basically. Because they'll eventually be able to flashback and flashback Mystical Teachings. And Edict effect away my creature. The only question is, can they kill us before they deck themselves? So, and even if all they do is Evincar's Justice every single turn, they're gonna kill us first. So, just from the 2 damage. Alright, there's the flashback teachings. They go get another mystical teachings. And then hopefully this one goes and gets a Devour Flesh just so I can go ahead and quit. Think twice. Maybe they're out of Edict effects. Maybe they cannot kill this Nightwing Glider. As I've said before, that doesn't really matter, but it'd be funny if they couldn't. Flashback teachings. Probably go get another teachings. Oh no, they got another Think Twice, apparently. Capsize? Oh, a capsize. That's exciting. Okay, so now I'm just super dead. Because this has protection from black, not from blue. So I think I can finally concede here. They just go ahead and capsize once or twice a turn, Evincar's Justice on the other turns, and they have plenty of time to kill me before they deck themselves. Why are they Think Twicing instead of capsizing me again? Don't they know how this goes? I want them to just kill me so I don't have to play. I know this is painful to watch for the viewers. Basically what they're supposed to do now is capsize me, capsize me, capsize me, capsize me, capsize me, and just keep on doing that until I get down to about 1 land. And then they can Evincar's Justice forever. Alright, Shrivel kills my pro-black creature. Yeah, this is game. Well, it's been fun. 2-3 overall. Our other two of our other 3 matches weren't really close. The Tron Elves, I didn't really feel like we had a good chance of beating. Against Dimir control decks, actually we do have pretty good tools. The ability to get free creatures every turn is very good against them. However, Shrivel and Evincar's Justice give you a very hard time, so it's hard to find ways to beat those cards. Anyway, let me know what you think of the deck, what things you changed. Give me a shout out in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the MTG Goldfish YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.